Breaking news that's rocking the world. China has issued a dire warning to Israel. Stop the Gaza strikes now or face devastating economic fallout. As Yemen's Houthis wage war, Saudi Arabia shifts alliances, and the U.S. wavers. Join us as we dive into this explosive escalation unfolding today, May 22, 2025. This is a story that's shaking global diplomacy to its core. Today, China delivered a stark ultimatum to Israel, demanding an immediate halt to its military strikes in Gaza, or face crippling economic consequences, including targeted sanctions and trade restrictions. The warning, issued amid unverified reports of Chinese troops and a cargo plane in Gaza, aligns with Yemen's Houthi war declaration, Saudi Arabia's backing of Yemen, and a growing Western rift, with France, the UK, and Canada condemning Israel, as we've reported. With former U.S. President Donald Trump threatening to abandon Israel, France's Emmanuel Macron vowing to save Gaza, and the Biden administration struggling to maintain influence, China's threat could isolate Israel further, destabilize the Middle East, and challenge the U.S.-led global order. Let's unpack why China is escalating, how it's driving the Gaza crisis, and what it means for a world on edge. This morning, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi held a press conference in Beijing, accusing Israel of indiscriminate aggression in Gaza and issuing a formal warning: cease military operations by May 25, 2025, or face severe economic measures. These include sanctions on Israel's $50 billion zero-cents tech sector, a ban on its defense exports, and a freeze on $5 billion zero-cents in Chinese investments. Israel's actions are a humanitarian catastrophe, Wang stated. China will not stand idle. Beijing also increased its Gaza aid pledge to $750 million zero-cents to be delivered via Egypt, and renewed calls for a UN peacekeeping force, echoing France's proposal. The warning follows yesterday's unconfirmed reports of a Chinese cargo plane over Gaza and alleged troop sightings, which China denied. By noon, X was ablaze. One post with 200,000 reposts read, "China's about to crush Israel's economy." Another, with 80,000 likes, warned, "Netanyahu's cornered." We're monitoring X to separate fact from speculation. The context is critical. Since early 2024, Gaza has been ravaged by conflict. Israel's campaign against Hamas, sparked by the October 2023 attack killing 1,200 Israelis and taking 250 hostages, has killed over 32,000 Gazans, per UN estimates, displacing 90% of its 2.3 million residents. Famine, cholera, and infrastructure collapse are rampant. Recent escalations have intensified pressure. On May 18, Yemen's Houthis declared war, targeting Israel with missiles and disrupting Red Sea shipping, vital for 12% of global trade. On May 19, Saudi Arabia backed the Houthis, urging attacks on Israel's military. On May 20, France, the UK, and Canada condemned Israel, with Macron pledging aid. Trump's threat to cut U.S. aid weakened Israel's position. China's actions, sanctions threats, a cargo plane, and now this ultimatum, build on this momentum, amplifying fears of a broader anti-Israel coalition. Why is China issuing this warning? Strategically, Beijing aims to lead the global south and counter U.S. influence. The Gaza crisis lets China rally anti-Western sentiment, especially after Saudi Arabia's Houthi alignment. China's $20 billion zero-cents trade with Saudi Arabia, $10 billion zero-cents with Iran, and $200 billion zero-cents Belt and Road investments in the Middle East drive its pro-Palestinian stance. Oil prices, up 10% to $96 zero-cents a barrel today, benefit its partners. Domestically, state media like CGTN frame China as a humanitarian champion, boosting Xi Jinping's image amid 4.5% GDP growth per 2025 IMF estimates. China's 2023 Saudi-Iran mediation enhanced its regional clout, and Gaza offers a stage to challenge Israel, and the ultimatum leverages China's $4 trillion zero-cents trade power, targeting Israel's $150 billion zero-cents economy, reliant on tech exports and U.S. aid, now at risk. Historically, China's ties with Israel were pragmatic, with $15 billion zero-cents in tech investments since 1992. But Gaza's crisis aligns Beijing with Palestine to gain Arab favor. The warning could force Israel to scale back operations, embolden adversaries like Hamas and the Houthis, or pressure the U.S., whose $3.8 billion zero-cents annual aid to Israel is uncertain. On X, China warns Israel, trends, with 9 million posts, with unverified claims of Chinese naval movements near the Red Sea, which we cannot confirm. Israel is in crisis. Netanyahu called China's warning extortion, accusing Beijing of emboldening terrorists. Sanctions could devastate Israel's tech sector, 15% of GDP, and the shekel fell 8% today. The Tel Aviv Stock Exchange dropped 6%, and protests in Jerusalem demand a ceasefire or Netanyahu's resignation, with his approval at 20%. Per a May 2025 Haaretz poll, Israel faces Houthi missiles, Hezbollah's northern strikes displacing 60,000 Israelis, and Western criticism risking isolation. Netanyahu's office is reportedly exploring back channels with the UAE to counter China's pressure. The U.S. is reeling. Biden condemned China's warning as reckless, reaffirming support for Israel but urging de-escalation. Trump's threat undermines unity, and the Pentagon's Red Sea deployments face Houthi risks, with a drone attack near a U.S. warship today, per unverified X posts. Oil at $96.00 a barrel could push U.S. gas to $6.00 a gallon, a liability for Biden before 2026 midterms. Saudi Arabia's shift threatens a U.S.-Saudi defense pact, and China's leadership challenges the Abraham Accords. Globally, Gaza's crisis is catastrophic. China's $750 million zero-cents aid pledge could open corridors, but the warning risks violence, emboldening Houthis to escalate Red Sea attacks, raising shipping costs by 25%. Israel's allies argue China ignores Hamas's role, complicating peace. A multi-front conflict, Gaza, Yemen, Lebanon, and China's economic pressure could empower Iran's proxies, destabilizing the region. What's next? The UN Security Council meets today, May 22, 2025, with China, France, and Saudi Arabia pushing sanctions and a ceasefire, likely vetoed by the U.S. China's Commerce Ministry will detail sanctions tomorrow, targeting firms like Elbit Systems. Netanyahu seeks UAE and Bahraini support, while Israel may strike Houthi sites, risking Chinese or Saudi retaliation. The Houthis plan a Sana'a rally tomorrow per telegram, vowing major strikes. On X, China warns Israel, trends, with unverified claims of Chinese cyber attacks on Israeli banks, which we cannot confirm. For Americans, a wider war could spike gas, grocery, and tech prices. The situation is volatile. Protests erupt globally, with a Beijing rally tomorrow we'll cover live. China's warning is a historic challenge to Israel and the global order. Follow us on X and subscribe to Inverio on YouTube. This is your news team signing off on May 22, 2025, with history unfolding.